It's my gold now.
When you're out there, feeling the heat on your feet and the wind in your eyes, nobody can hear you crying for help. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So you learn pretty fast you either fight to protect what you believe in, or you die. It's about survival. It's about living. With all the things that I've seen and done in my life, it's brought me here to this moment. I ain't saying that I had a perfect life, but I'm alive to tell you about it. So I guess you could say, I'm just living.
Whoa, watch where you're going, son.
Sorry, sir.
Well, howdy, pretty lady.
I was wondering how long before I saw you again.
It was well worth the wait.
Been a little busy, I see.
I guess you could say that. I try to get out there and mine it when I can, but it's one hell of a trip. It ain't easy, you know. Scorpions, snakes, wolves.
Sounds much too dangerous for me.
Oh hell, those critters and wild animals, it's not what I'm worried about. It's man you need to worry about. They'll come at you with all they got. They don't care. Well, that's all I got. How much we looking at?
It looks like you brought in quite a lot today. Looks like you're coming in just under $700.
Well, I'll be damned.
Well, okay. You are all set.
You must be doing something right, son. You're still alive.
Well, look at you. It's been a long time, eh? Still working up at that vulture mine?
Oh, hell no. After you left, the shift boss added more hours. I figured hell with it.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I guess we could say it was your fault. I was gonna quit anyway. What's this I hear about you finding some gold up by Weaver's Needle?
Me? I wish. Where'd you hear that?
Oh, cut the crap. I'd be willing to work for you for a fair share.
You think I found some kind of bonanza out there? You're crazy.
I could help you pull a lot more gold out than what you're pulling now. And it's good to have somebody watching your back you can trust.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If we're doing this my way.
Of course. I'm not trying to pry anything out of you. I'm just looking out for you, bud. Just want to help.
No fooling around out there, and you sure as hell better not be telling anybody about this.
Come on, we were mining together for almost 5 years at Vulture Mine.
All right. I gotta rest up and resupply. We'll leave at the crack of dawn. Make sure you pack enough supplies. That desert will eat you alive up there. I don't want to have to watch the wolves eat you for breakfast.
Sounds great.
So, just like that, you let Andy in on your treasure?
Oh, I've been mining with that man for years. We've been through a lot together, and he is one of the only guys in town I could stand for more than 5 minutes. He was a good guy, someone you could really trust. And that's a hard thing to find in a town like that.
So what happened when you guys left?
Hey, Jacob, looks like a storm moving in. You might want to think about packing up.
Do you know how many storms I've been through out here? Too many. Besides, we only got days left anyway. So let's make the most of it and go find some more gold.
So, how do you find your way back out here all the time? After storms wash all the trails away and everything? Gotta have a map. Mind if I see it?
There's nothing to see, Andy. It's all up in here, locked up tight.
Jacob, I'm gonna have to ask you again for that map. You see, I got mouths to feed. Haven't had a decent meal in over a year. The wages you're paying me, crap. All the gold I'm seeing around here, I think I'm just gonna take it for myself, boy. Why should I keep busting my ass for everybody else when I end that right here, right now, this very moment? You're a greedy little bastard. You're sitting on a bonanza and you're hoarding it all yourself while all your friends are out here dying.
Andy, please.
Shut up. You know what the shift boss told me? He said, because me and you are such good friends, he's gonna cut my salary in half. Well, you know I wasn't gonna have nothing to do with that. I said, to hell with that. I was out of there. He said the only reason he fired you is because you were stealing the gold.
Your life was already a living hell, Andy. We were both struggling and you know it. Don't be blaming me for that.
you're gonna give me that map, and I'm gonna haul this gold out of here, and I'm gonna get the life I deserve. Why don't I just blow that head off right now? Wouldn't make a damn difference to me.
Well, I think I know who stole Vulture Mine's gold now.
It became pretty clear that Andy was the one who stole the gold back at the old job, and I was paying for it. It was also pretty obvious that I couldn't keep doing this, as I was sick of risking my life, and to be honest, the amount of gold we pulled out of that mine that week was enough to buy my own farm and retire anyway. So I put him inside the cave and sealed the entrance. I wasn't planning on making any more visits. It wasn't worth the risk.
Jacob, I had no idea.
Oh, it's fine. It's long past now. If you ask me, he had it coming.
Jacob, it's a miracle that you're still alive after all of that.
Well, I'm not going to be around much longer, so I figured I'd share this with somebody before I go.
Oh, stop it. You'll be fine.
Well, you know what the best part of it is?
What's that?
I got a chance to live, Julia.
Well, it sounds like you almost died every day.
Although it was crazy, I wouldn't trade it for all the gold in the world. It was one hell of an adventure.
Well, I'm glad you look at it like that.
And Julia,
Yes, Jacob.
I have something for you.
Is that so?
Don't go spend it all in one place.
It's been 5 years since Jim Tod visited an abandoned mine he found while prospecting for minerals. Deep in the Arizona Superstition Mountains lies an abandoned site that could date back to the 1800s. A time that fits nicely with the legend of the Dutchman's gold.
I didn't think we were gonna find it.
Psychic medium Jamie Clark is friends with Jim and also feels there may be a significant amount of gold in the area. Now, 5 years later, they visit the mine to check up on it, hoping it's remained undisturbed and untouched. They travel far, nearly 50 miles away from Phoenix, deep into the Superstition Mountains to begin the tedious process of finding its location. This is where the adventure begins. Jim has known Jamie for several years. Jamie has helped many clients with his psychic ability, a few of them being business owners looking for oil, treasure, or precious metals. So it's no wonder that the two have set out to check up on the old abandoned mine that Jim has found. It's been a while, so they make their way to several locations trying to find it, stopping for a little fun along the way. It can't hurt to brush up on your aim. After all, it is the Wild West. It doesn't take long for them to finally find the mine location. Upon arrival, the two are absolutely ecstatic. They get right to it and start hammering away at some of the rock scouting the area. They check all the mine shafts and everything seems to be as it was 5 years ago.
Just make one.
That's of course until they notice evidence of someone who has recently been there.
Oh, bag of something.
They start to get nervous, thinking someone has been tampering with the mine, but nothing compares to the close encounter they receive next.
I hear somebody out there. Okay, they're going by. Let them keep going, keep going, keep going.
Out of the blue, two men walk up to Jim and Jamie and start questioning them. Both men are armed, but seem fairly nice, so they talk for a bit and get to know each other. Jim doesn't tell him what he's really up to, or what he thinks is going on with the mine. Upon talking to the one man, it turns out he's not just a curious traveler. And when they figure out who he really is, Jim gets really nervous.
We were just out at our gold mine, Jamie Mine Gold Mine. We know there's gold there, but we haven't ever told anyone. And we've kept it a secret for the last 3 or 4 years. And now we're deciding it's time to do it. And so we go out there today. And last year there was a show on TV in Phoenix about the lost Dutchman gold mine. And this guy was actively pursuing it, looking for it. And we go out to our gold mine today, and who walks up on us but the guy that wrote and did the show. And I find a hole next to our gold mine, and I said, uh-oh, that scares me. And that was before he walked up. So I'm thinking this guy knows the gold's there.
What are the odds of him showing up like that, though? Right? I mean,
pretty slim. We're going to have to get right on this. We can't wait any longer. We have to file a mining claim by next month.
Their first day back, and time is already running out.
I didn't see any of the other, that treasure hunter.
Remember the story of where Jacob had to kill one and to get the mine and kill one to keep it? I believe there's someone down there.
There's a very strong potential.
A burial?
Yep, and I feel like from what I'm being shown, person's on their side, back is arched like this, legs slightly curved.
This could be a Peralta mine that Jacob Waltz found someone else at and killed him and took it over. My feeling is they would have taken and smelted everything down there, but you wouldn't have backfilled it in unless you were going to come back. You would have just left
Keep
it alone
something
if you were done.
safe.
When I brought Rick out the first time I brought him out here, he said that those mining timbers weren't old enough. But here's what I get. After Jacob Waltz's day, someone came back in and mined, and they restructured it so that they didn't have to worry. This has a lot of potential right here, but look at the view, folks.
It's another day at the mine, but this time they're locking in the claim and doing all the paperwork needed to keep it safe from anyone else.
Pertinent information.
There we go.
We're starting to fill out the paperwork now. We're going to at least post this. We're still waiting for the process from Rick's friend. Man, is it gnats or mosquitoes?
These are gnats.
Holy cow.
Oh, they're mellow. Heck, when they're heavy, you can. There's a fog around you, man. They're easy on you today.
All I hear, thankfully, man. All I hear is the bzzz.
Everybody can tell this man spends a great deal of time out in nature.
Jamie and I and Rick went out to the mine to stake the claim. We wanted to get it legal because we knew this other guy was hoarding in.
Right.
So we went out and We had the stakes already at the right stuff and all the markings on them and all that legal. And we went up on this hill to stake the far northwest corner. We have 500 feet this way by 1,000 feet that way. Now, if I really want to mine it, I have to go to the Forest Service and give them this thing that says intention to open up. Where's all the stuff from all the tunnels? That's a lot of dirt they hauled out. Where is it? It isn't there, and it isn't in the wash. I've looked, there's no gold there. There's no big tailing piles. Where did it all go? There's 4 tunnels there, and one of them goes way back in, and that alone would be 10 to 12 dump truck loads of dirt. Where is it? At the highest part of my claim, right next on the hill next to it, and look out, you can see Weaver's Needle. Now, that was one of his clues. They have people dying every year looking for this damn thing. Once it's found, they won't have that happening no more.
Today they're headed to the Superstition Mountain Museum, where they hope to learn a little more about the actual legends surrounding the Dutchman's lost mine, and see how some of the clues could relate to the mine that Jim has found. Famed stories, relics, and even maps can be found here. The history lesson is about to begin.
Jacob Waltz was born in Oberschwandorf, Germany in 1810. He was always a gold seeker. He later moved across the United States, wound up at the San Gabriel River, just on the California border. And strangely enough, about 400 to 500 feet just downstream was another Arizona guy. This guy right up here by the name of Elijah Rivas, who was also panning for gold. And they didn't know each other. He was a mountain man, a scout, a gold seeker, and he put together a very large mining party. And these 2 guys joined it. They worked their way down to the river, and Waltz left Rivas behind, and he said, I've got to go up in the superstitions. This is where the whole thing becomes a little bit dicey. A lot of different stories manifest themselves about now. One of the stories says that Waltz had a partner by the name of Jacob Weiser, and the 2 of them searched for gold together, and that Waltz, in the process of searching for this gold, killed Weiser. Now that's one of the stories.
Now, out of those, what stands out to you that's the most viable?
Well, I don't know, simply because we don't have any documented evidence showing that Jacob Weiser even existed. Waltz did find gold. The thing about it is we don't know where he found it. He was a great storyteller. He would bring his mule into town. His mule would have gold ore on it. He'd take it in, have it assayed. He'd get an assay slip, take it to the bank. The banker would pay him whatever the gold was worth, and then he would go to his favorite saloon, and he would tell all his buddies where his mine was. All of this stuff was kind of a joke to him.
I'm like, yeah, and why would he do that? I was curious as to...
That's
I kind of feel he was being very misleading.
He was, and that was the way he had his fun. Waltz would then stay for a while, then he would go back in, and he would make sure that he went in the same trail, took his burro, and then several weeks later he would come back out, and he'd have gold ore on the burro. Same thing, and he'd do the same thing all over again. In the 1800s, we had a huge rainstorm. The river flooded. Waltz climbed up a tree to get out of the flood, and they brought him back down after 2 or 3 days. They got him out of the tree. He was barely alive. They bunked him in, and he stayed at a house that belonged to Julia Thomas. She kept a bedroom for him in there, and he died a short time later. He drew a map, which he freehand, which he gave to Julia Thomas for taking care of him, and underneath his bed was a box of gold ore, which he gave to her for taking care of it. After he died in 1891, Julia Thomas and the Petrash brothers went up into the mountains, and followed the map, and came out empty-handed, just like everybody else had.
Did Julia give the Petrash brothers the real map? Or did she keep it for herself and keep the mine a secret? Or perhaps Jacob gave her a false map, knowing she would spread word of its location, taking the secret and his mine to his own grave. At this point, it's anyone's guess as to what really happened, and the plot thickens.
They're very typical of miners who populated this area of the West back in the late 19th century.
So as an overall consensus, like maybe the word of mouth of people, was there ever like maybe a direction that they had a particular person that
He was
stood out
described
more?
by a couple of people as being a very pleasant man. Other people described him as having been a real monster. And he killed a lot of people. People said that's a lot of baloney.
Well, I was curious because of the gentleman who is clean shaven. So I'm
Yes,
thinking, wow.
that's supposed to be a young picture of Jacob Waltz, but we haven't been able to establish that at all as proof. We also thought we found the original Waltz family back in Germany. They came over here, as a matter of fact, and brought a lot of documentation with them. Then they went back to finish it up, and we found out they don't know whether they had the right Jacob Waltz or not, and they came from the same town he did.
Wow.
And I don't know how many people by the name of Jacob Waltz lived in that town, but it was over a dozen. And it's a very small little community in Germany, so you know, that's who do you believe, you know?
Monster or not, the spectrum of his stories are anything but small. So with so many undocumented pictures, stories, and pieces of map, it's no wonder this legend has eluded disclosure. Perhaps it's just a few good stories whipped up around the campfire. Or maybe the legends are really true. Jacob Waltz did do one thing for sure. He kept his gold mine hidden to this very day.
Finally here. And that's a rough road coming in. Hey, Rick. Morning. You're right on time, buddy.
Oh, good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Jim.
Thanks again for coming out to help us out. Appreciate it.
This is a big day.
Oh, good.
Today we actually find out if it's really there.
We've also got veins of hematite that are
Is that going to mess up?
Well, they're 3 and 4 feet thick.
Yeah, that's
they
what I
they
know.
could affect reading the whole bunch. So we won't know until we try it.
Will it show the hematite and then maybe go below it? Would it do that, or just show the hematite and nothing below?
I'm not sure if it can read through the hematite.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
There's posts that go in the ground, and then a signal goes, like a radio wave, a carrier wave, goes from post to post, and you read electrical resistance. And if there's very little resistance, that would be because there's a lot of metal carrying the wave. If it's just inert ground, you're going to have a lot of resistance, and it measures that resistance.
Here's how the scanning device works. First, they have to place 2 metal stakes into the ground on opposite sides of the device. They have to soften the ground too, so the electrical current carries further. Then once on, the device penetrates the ground with an electrical charge that is able to detect certain materials based on the resistance it runs into along the way. The amount of resistance can determine things like silver or gold, or at least it claims to. They get the supplies all ready and start making their way to the present stake holes.
Getting their workout today.
It's not easy terrain to travel across. Everything is sharp and rough. The desert doesn't give up its secrets very easily. After lots of careful planning, they have the gear set up and are ready to start scanning.
You've got a line this way, the vertical lines, and then you've got the horizontal lines and the cross lines. Either read across the lines or on either outer edge, and depending on which series of buttons you push, depends on whether you're reading a cross line or a horizontal or a vertical line. One over this way and one down this way. Right. There's the hole. So now we're going to hydrate this hole so that we can get better conduction. Hopefully this will get deep enough to contact the lower moisture and get our signal down deeper. Putting that water in sure does help soften things up. This clip on the post, and that one is good to go. If you had equipment or if you had exposed ore, first guy that comes along that's a little deficient in integrity is gonna, take what he can. There's mixed opinions on this. Some people don't think it works well at all. If you go to the internet and look up these devices, you're going to find some people going, "Oh, that's bull. It doesn't work. It doesn't work."
They've never used
on
one.
the other hand, from what I'm told, I haven't witnessed it personally, but I'm told that like the big mines use these to determine where to locate some of their blasts. And that is showing water, and it's not fluctuating at all. It hit that and it stopped.
That water.
Yeah.
So there's an underground stream?
Could be. Well, so far all we got is minerals on, I think it was 1 and 3.
After quite a few scans, they don't seem to find much.
We do not have any high metallic readings at this point. And we're now getting between minerals and water, mostly minerals.
Which is better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than no reading for sure. And minerals is good. 2 and 3 is just showing water. 1 and 2 are just showing water.
Water deep underground seems to be the only interesting thing. Too bad water isn't worth as much as gold.
We might need to move both of them.
I'm wondering if we didn't cover the right areas, maybe focus a little closer. I don't know. I've never worked with one of these machines, so I don't know how to even use them. But I would think that if we're not getting the readings we want that far out, maybe close it in a little bit and just get a specific reading right over the shafts where they were working. See if there is gold there. And putting in 20 or 30 core drills, that'd take a whole day, 2 guys. I've always thought that this was the Lost Dutchman mine since I found it. I have no proof though. And the only proof I think we can ever get is twofold. Getting gold out of here that's exceptional, that looks like his. And if we unbury that one shaft and there's a body in there, that would sort of confirm it to me. Because in the story, where you remember at the Superstition Mountain Museum when we went there, that guy that was narrating said that he killed 2 people. One to find the mine, in other words, he stole the mine that someone was already working, and one to keep it, which means someone came by later and in some way found out where he was and he had to kill him to keep his mine. So I don't know, Bill, we're out here on a ghost chase or whatever you want to call it. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but I want to know for sure, and that's why we're out here.
The gopher mound, we got rid of it. And we went over into just the loose dirt that's on top of the limestone. Well, limestone is inert. And limestone, even if you've got...
Even if it's 8 foot deep, it won't show anything
Even if
else?
you've got gold in the limestone has a lot of quartz, and quartz masks the signal.
Okay.
Those posts are on top of limestone, which is essentially inert ground.
Feeling frustrated, the guys decide to scan the ground directly below the mine shafts.
Okay, what I'm thinking... Both these diggings came in under this big, see the big vein of hematite there, that big black vein?
Yeah.
That's the thickest single vein here in the formation. I'd say there's probably 10 feet of hematite altogether. But I'm thinking of maybe going in that shaft there and hammering it into the floor in there.
That big was where it stopped.
Right.
And now someone's opened up all that.
But upon looking into the mine shafts, the team finds it's been further mined by someone else since their last visit.
All right, here we go.
Now it's time to go deep into this further excavated mine shaft and see if there's any reason why someone keeps digging further in.
Holy
Can you see the end yet?
no.
Wow.
Oh my God. Does that turn around to the right now?
I'm about to find out. I'm going to try to stabilize this.
Holy that goes way back.
Okay, I'm just going to leave that, Jimmy. That camera's right there. Oh.
How far back, guys?
Well, at least 100 feet, potentially. Yeah, oh yeah, it goes back. It's got a dip, too. This is a little scary, but
yeah,
feeling pretty solid, man. Okay, it looks like it comes to completion. It stops here. And it looks like they started jumping here. Dang. Wow. See all the little dig areas? At least they're trying, but for them to go back this far, there must be something.
What's that? There's something reflecting right in here. You see that? It's shiny,
Yeah.
shimmery.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Now I believe, oh, wow. Come look at this.
Crystals. Lots of them. They can be seen all around the cracks and crevices from where someone has been mining.
I want to look along these walls, because you never know.
Although very pretty, still nothing compared to gold in value. Making an exit and setting up the metal scanner spikes, Jim is briefed on what is found.
How far back does it go, guy?
About 100 feet at least, and then it comes to a dead end. But there is a lot of crystals. A little scary, but things seem to be solid. I have enough faith and trust in my people. They're saying we're okay. Let's do this.
Here we go. And that's the last we ever saw Jamie.
Exactly.
Now, Jamie has to get into the other mine shaft and set up one more spike for the scanning device. He checks out the entire area just to make sure nothing is missed along the way. He checks for any possible signs of why someone would continue to mine this area.
Let's try 1 and 2. That's this post back here to that post out in the wash.
Okay.
And that's right up in there.
So there's nothing right there.
That would be correct. Let's see what 1 and 3 have got to say.
If we don't pick up gold today, I don't know what to do other than core drill next.
Same thing. This is interesting. 1 and 4 are picking up a tunnel. And 1 and 4 go right by those tunnels. I was looking for a place to put a post and found a buried tunnel where it's just a rock pile, and I could see there's a post there, big post, and when I looked down by the post, there's just a bunch of air going through all these rocks. There's a buried tunnel down there.
Upon arrival of the first mine shaft, they found it to be much further dug out than it was prior to their visit last time. So they set up the spikes inside as far back as they could, so they could scan the ground below the actual mine shafts. Upon scanning deep inside both of the mine shafts, they found the unexpected. A massive cavern that is below the actual mine shafts.
It's showing caverns. This one right here, I was telling you, is deeper and it's buried.
Right, okay, so that's what it's, okay.
And there could be a cavern right underneath this whole thing that they buried right there. Because, hey, if you look at that, get down there and look by the post, you're just looking at a pile of rocks with air.
Exactly, it looks deeper, exactly.
It's buried.
A buried cavern where they were also finding a stream of water. It leaves them with more questions than answers. Could this cavern be nothing more than an old site long lost over time? Or could the current mine shafts be nothing more than a diversion? They do one more scan on the hill nearby, but it shows nothing promising.
It is not showing us anything but more inert ground. So,
Checkmate.
They came here with many questions and hoped they would get answers. But the harsh desert land couldn't even give them a straight answer. Instead, they find more clues and curious discoveries to show that something more is going on at this location. The man from the other TV show that has been looking for the lost Dutchman's mine his entire life just so happened to check up on the guys last year when they scouted the site. Now, they see a mine shaft further dug out with no precious minerals to be found. But why? Why would anyone go through all that trouble unless they were looking for something deeper or further in the mountain? Could it be the actual Dutchman mine? directly below a diversion mine? For now, the team heads home. Jim has a lot to think about before moving ahead, and it seems that for now, the Lost Dutchman mine will remain a mystery.